Hey there, folks. It's the E-Man here, and I just want to do a video about the particular genres and things I usually like. Not with games, but more with media, like videos or movies and whatnot. So yeah, some I should probably show off my movie collection, but I got quite a bit of movies. Trying to find them all, but I'll have to talk about a few that I have. Some of them I probably have already seen, but there was one that I just found recently, and I was glad to find it because I was wondering where it was. It was the 2009 He-Man Masters of the Universe series. Yeah, I was able to find this on Amazon, like the whole collection, which was pretty cool. The problem though is the case was really beat to hell, so you'd probably find a new case to put this in. There's only a couple discs. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, DVD quality looks pretty good. I really love this series. This was done really well, I think, in my opinion. I love how there's this whole origins of Skeletor and stuff are is on this, and I think that's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. I remember the King Randar Skeletor tries to throw acid at him, and acid gets in his face and stuff. It's kind of a cool origins of Skeletor, and it was very faithful, I think, to I would think to the original series, but a little bit better. Yeah, I know I've seen the Netflix series. That's another rendition of this, but I kind of like this series. It's pretty good. We get to see yeah, like the sorceress of Great Skull and stuff, and some of her origins and some of her stuff. It's pretty interesting animated series. You definitely want to check that out if you like He-Man. I'm a bit of a dork, but yeah, I got onto that on Cartoon Network. I think it was on Toonami or on Cartoon Network. I think is where I first saw that series. Yes, and Cartoon Network was another thing to help me find out this series. SWAT Cats, The Radical Squadron, Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Yeah, yeah, it's one of their last ones as well. Yeah, one of Hanna-Barbera's last kind of cartoons. Yeah, now these were made by the Tremblay brothers, and supposedly they're going to be bringing back SWAT Cats, but I have yet to see any animation of them coming back or not. Of course, this is the DVD collection, and it's not in HD. I guess what I found out was that when they brought the SWAT Cats over to Cartoon Network, they then had to digitize them in order to have them play on Cartoon Network, which is why they looked a lot better on when they were on Cartoon Network or on yeah, they had Toonami, or it was oh yes, on the Boomerang, network on Boomerang, then started showing these all the time. But I remember there was a big block on Cartoon Network, and I watched SWAT Cats. It was cool because when I was growing up, we didn't really have cable. So one day we had satellite Prime Star. I remember, and we would watch all this stuff. Yeah, the special toy run thing Cartoon Network was doing. Now Cartoon Network's pretty much dead. It doesn't show really anything of any interest, but yep, the full DVD collection. And as I said, it's not in HD, so yeah, thing. But whatever. Yeah, I will admit I was able to go get a torrent download, and was able to get HD versions of it. Yes, you can also get these on Amazon Prime Video. A lot of cartoons you can get on there. You can get like Pirates of Dark Water, SWAT Cats. No, I don't know really in HD, but worth worth a look. Yeah, basically this is especially like anamorphic cat people. It's like a world full of cat people. Yeah, think of remember that weird movie Howard the Duck where everyone's a duck. I guess in this everyone's a cat. So a lot of cat references to the real world. Pretty interesting series. It's just like one of those series that feels very weird that it was ever created, much like Pirates of Dark Waters. Hanna-Barbera made itself go broke with their animation style, it just got too expensive. Alright. Now another movie I think I remember seeing a while ago. Of course, there's been other many different versions of this, but the World War II movie of Midway. Um, I think this is the best one. I think basically shows Battle of Midway. I think it shows Pearl Harbor, and then it shows like the Doolittle Raiders and stuff when they attack Japan and stuff. Yeah, a very very cool movie. Yeah, and battling the Japanese in the Pacific. Yeah, a lot of people still don't quite realize in World War II we were kind of fighting on two fronts, fighting the Germans one front and then fighting the Japanese on another front. I like how it kind of shows like the beginning of World War II, and well, my grandfather was in World War II in the Pacific somewhere. I'm not really sure exactly where he was, but I do know that the Battle of Midway probably was helpful. He could have been captured or killed by the Japanese if they had not been successful. What they were able to do, basically cripple the Japanese Navy beyond all repair. It's just a great movie. Well, it follows one great pilot, and it follows him and all of his training and whatnot. And this movie also fully expresses the intelligence officers and the people in the intelligence agency during the war that really helped fool the Japanese into the whole Battle of Midway, so they were able to successfully take them out. It's a very great movie. And the last of the Doolittle Raiders, I believe, passed away after this movie came out. I think this movie came out in. Let me see, yeah. Oh yes, it came out in 2019. It was kind of like one of those surprise movies, but it's really great. Got on Blu-ray too. Yeah, we got. I have a Dennis Quaid, Woody Harrelson, like a bunch of other names. I know there was another Midway movie. I think I remember watching. All right, well, this is like one of my favorites. This might even be like one of my first videos I ever talked about certain things. Hmm? Oh yeah, I have it in the player, but I have Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal on Blu-ray. Yes, I love this movie. I think I have all kinds of different versions of this movie, but the Blu-ray is really cool. Yeah, there's like an extra thing where there's a questionnaire that you can see like what you know of this movie. And I think I've seen this movie so many freaking times. It really is a great movie. A lot of people think, oh, well, it's a ripoff of Lord of the Rings. No, I think this is really original, really great. I think it's like a magical world was created here. It's like, by Jim Henson. Originally, this movie was not very well received. A lot of people didn't understand it. There was a lot of issues that went on with it, and Jim Henson had to buy the rights back from somebody in order to get it out. And they supposedly had to dub over everything because originally the Skeksis, the bad guys, spoke a whole different language, and that had to be redone. It's now a cult classic, but I think I remember hearing that the one of the major reasons why this movie didn't do very well when it originally came out back in '82. Yeah, this game, this movie existed before I, I did. I was born in '82 in February, so yeah. Anyways, yeah, the Dark Crystal really is a great movie. There is, of course, the Dark Crystal miniseries that was on Netflix that I think I've talked about a bunch too. That was really great. Really great to see the world of Thrall come back to life and stuff. It was kind of cool. Of course, I guess working with puppets is expensive, so I'm not sure if we're ever going to get a resolve of anything. just because the Jim Henson Company is very, which I'm glad because so many franchises are destroyed. It's like, and I'm very unhappy that there's a lot of YouTubers never talk about this movie, or they've never talked about the Netflix Dark Crystal series, and it irritates me. Yeah, I've seen like two big groups of YouTubers that talk about this movie and everything. And no one else really does, and I don't really like that. But anyway, because back in 2016 was when they brought out the Netflix miniseries. It was amazing that we got that. So yeah, it's great. Of course, the miniseries takes place before this movie. So essentially, in this movie, the Skeksis have already ruled for 1,000 years, and they're starting to die, and then they're planning on taking over the world and everything. Yeah, supposedly they have committed genocide against the race of the Gelfling and wiped them out, supposedly. Yeah, so the miniseries, people thought it was going to get kind of dark, so maybe they didn't want to go there. But yes, this can be a very dark movie and a very like hopeful and wonderful movie at the same time because Jim Henson thought that kids needed to be afraid once in a while. So there is some darkness to this movie as well. It's not all just rainbows and butterflies. There's really serious implications in this movie. Now another series that I was animated series that I was brought upon by Cartoon Network. It was anime. Well, originally I saw a lot of anime on the Sci-Fi Channel. I really liked that. That was kind of random anime. It wasn't any particular series. Of course, this was before we had Crunchyroll and places where you could get anime all the time. Sci-Fi Channel. Sci-Fi used to do Sci-Fi Monday, but they don't really seem to do that anymore. They don't do Anime Monday or something. I think they used to do it, but I don't know if they do it anymore. But there was a lot of ones like Iria was one of the original ones. Akira, yeah, the real classic ones. I think Akira really influenced like Final Fantasy VII. I think, and to an extent. Yes, well, Robotech. This was considered one of the first animes to come over here. Of course, in Japan, this is called the Macross Saga. Here it was Robotech. I think there's one guy that was very influential in bringing this out back in the 80s. So yeah, he finally brought this over here. I forget what his name was, but yeah, like that weird energy source protoculture, and there's aliens, the Centrati, there are giants, and all kinds of things. But this covers like the whole series. Even the Robotech movies are in here. I don't really watch it very often. I know that a lot of Robotech isn't all that good, and it is essentially even like how I liked Voltron and stuff, but Voltron was kind of taking like an existing cartoon and they kind of dubbed in the English. The dubbing in Robotech was done incredibly well. They really did try to sync up the words with the people, which was cool. But it is essentially taking something that was something else and changing it around. Though it may not be the best series, I do like it. I've read there's been a lot of novels I read about this. Like the first series, it's like Rick Hunter and there's like pilots and stuff, so there is some a feeling of like how in Top Gun and stuff that kind of buddy stuff. They're like fighter pilots and stuff, like jets that can transform and stuff. It's yeah, I mean like the Transformers, and I love the Transformers as well. So, yeah, yeah. I don't really watch anime on a regular basis, but I admire some of them. I know that Akira was a very interesting one. I think that was like one of the first ones that was actually in America and was actually here in the theaters. I think at one time. Yeah, Robotech, a great series. Definitely should check it out if you want. There's a lot of Robotech video games, which theirs are usually hit and miss, but most of them are pretty good. Okay, now a movie that, you know, even the main actor in this was Sean Connery's final movie, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and yeah, well, I guess excuse me, I guess I might as well talk about movie. Yeah, this is a movie that a lot of people probably don't like, but I do particularly like it. I think it was based on a graphic novel, and all these characters are kind of from Victorian era, kind of like superheroes, you could say. It's almost like kind of like Avengers or something, kind of a little bit. You know, a league of different people with all these superpowers and stuff. Yeah, and Sean Connery's like Alan Quartermain and stuff. I think there's a movie called King Solomon's Mines, and that character is in it. Like the Invisible Man, we have Captain Nemo. Of course, there's different versions of these characters. We have Dorian Gray. We have a lot of interesting things. And Nina, she's like a vampire woman or something. Yeah, I. It was a shame to hear this was Sean Connery's final movie because Sean Connery, I guess, his agent wasn't getting him the best roles. He kept turning down roles, and he really wanted this role because he thought this movie was going to be a big giant universe. Maybe there was even they were thinking about making a sequel, but I don't think this movie ever did really well. But I remember I had this on the PSP, the UMD PSP video, and I have it here too. Yeah, really a great movie. It's rated PG-13, so yeah. But let's say other divisive movies. Other divisive movies. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Yeah, I've seen all this stuff about the new movie. I think even Disney and Marvel are like freaking out. It's like, do you guys not know it's not going to do well or not? But whatever. Yeah, a lot of people don't really like whether it was the other Fantastic Four movie and then Rise of the Silver Surfer. A lot of people didn't really like these movies, but I think these movies are kind of a guilty pleasure. And it's amazing to go back to quite a while ago and see better CGI for whatever reason. You know, and just Silver Surfer was done incredibly well. One flaw, of course, is Galactus is like some kind of storm cloud or something. Well, I mean, I think it's cool in the new movie that we get to see Galactus all out, but I think maybe people thought that maybe that would be look too silly. I guess we'll just have to see. Yeah, kind of a storm cloud thing or something. But I did like how Reed Richards' character is really deployed, is really expressed the way he really is in the comics. I feel like these characters really fit in the universe of the Fantastic Four. You know, hate this movie or whatever, but they did do pretty good. You know, of course, we have the Human Torch guy. That, of course, later on he goes on to be Captain America and stuff. So it's interesting to see him in this movie because he's a completely different kind of character. Chris Evans, like completely different character than he is in that. Yeah, he plays Sue Storm. I feel like it's great. So I think they can get the characters of the Fantastic Four good, but they just seem to well, they want to have like the big giant Galactus and Silver Surfer. That's like I think they really should take time on the Fantastic Four fighting some of their other supervillains. It seems like they want to hurry up and just make everyone have to fight something. But yeah, I like it, and I also like the other Fantastic Four movie. Like two in a row that I think were pretty good. We had some other Fantastic Four movies that weren't as fantastic. Yeah, one that just went off the rails. I don't even know what it was called. It could have been called something else, and it was Fantastic Four. But I don't want the new Fantastic Four movie to do bad. Don't get me wrong, I don't want it to do bad, but I feel like it's another missed opportunity, and they just can't get the Fantastic Four right. I don't understand why they can't. They were able to do the Avengers well. I go back and watch the old Marvel, the first Avengers movie, and I'm like, wow, It's still a great freaking movie. Even though how old it is. It's like what has happened to Marvel and Disney? It's a shame to see. I just they had all that potential and they've used it up and now they don't know what to do, but I don't know what Disney is doing with Star Wars or it's just I'm so tired of this ongoing thing. They want to make these movies and shows that no one really wants to watch, and then they're like, "Oh, well, why does nobody watch this?" You keep putting out movies the same way again and again and again and again, and it doesn't work. It's like that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing again and again and again, expecting different results. It's like I hope it doesn't do bad, but whatever. I mean, the Superman movie is a little bit divisive. Some people like it, some people don't. So it's good. It wasn't really super good. Yeah, and it wasn't really super bad. It was just kind of middle of the road, which is yeah, okay. I watched the new Jurassic Park movie. I did like it. I do feel you seem making too many of these movies, and I don't mind there being another universe of movies within the Jurassic Park universe, but they really need to try to do their own thing. There's always these member berries in these Jurassic World movies. It's supposed to be, oh, it's the original park, the original vehicles. It's like, what? I don't need the member berries. I know this is in the same universe as Jurassic Park. I don't need to be constantly reminded about that movie. I love the first Jurassic Park movie as well, even though a lot was cut out of it. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give away spoilers for the movie, but the trailer pretty much showed most of it. Yes, the scene where the T Rex is actually swimming in the water. That's a nod to the original story. Yeah, there was a scene that was cut out of that they didn't do in the original movie. It was the raft scene. Alan Grant and the kids are in a raft trying to get away from the T Rex. The T Rex tries to get them and it trips and falls in the water and it drowns. At least I think that's how it goes. And I was like, I remember watching my mother and I was said, they swim now. Yeah. Like the stormtroopers, they fly now. Now the dinosaurs, they swim now. So maybe they could swim. I don't know. But the T Rex is like quite an elaborate scene of the T Rex trying to get them when they're in the river. And it separates it into two groups of people. So that's kind of interesting. An interesting concept, I will give it, but I'm tired of these member berries. And then the biggest thing was they go to the island's been abandoned for 17 years, pick up a flashlight and it instantly works. I don't quite get how that works, but whatever. Yeah, and they just go to an island of where they did research. So because there's all these mutant dinosaurs and whatnot everywhere, but yeah, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen the Superman movie yet, so I'd probably go see that. Yeah, and of course, I found a lot of great, good movies are now coming out on digital. There's How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake, which I think is really great. Yeah, it's like hello Disney. I mean, this is how you do a live action movie. You got to watch that. How to Train Your Dragon did wonderful. I never watched the animated movie, but it actually makes me want to go watch the animated movie because Toothless looks pretty much the same as he did in the animated one because he still has to be CGI apparently, but I think it's done incredibly well. I mean, I don't know why Disney can't seem to do that. Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you see these movie studios used to be so cool. Now they can't really put out anything that's interesting. Yeah. Well, another note here in Maine, we finally get a stretch of weather that's somewhat normal weather. Around the 70s, we had some thunderstorms and a bit of heavy rain going through, but it's pretty good. It's the first day I haven't had to have the AC running full blast or something. So it's been relatively nice. Yep. Had to work an extra day at work this week, so probably not going to be putting out as many videos as I have because I'll probably be coming home and having to, you know, come home, kind of snooze or just chill out for like an hour and then come on and do videos or whatever. So I guess it was kind of an update video and then kind of some of my movie genres I would like. As I said, I do like anime. I don't really like consciously watch it all the time, but it was nice to go back when I would watch like I think Prime Video. I was able to find a lot of these animes and stuff. Like I loved the Iria. That was really cool. And then like Akira, as I've said, that was a very interesting anime. I remember there was a lot of things in it because it supposedly took place in the year 2020, and they even knew, they even said, "Oh yeah, well the Olympics are going to be in Tokyo at that time." So yeah, that was all planned out. But I guess yeah, it wasn't. Didn't the pandemic happen and the Olympics was didn't happen as smoothly as it was supposed to? And then I remember they even looked up like what would be the hottest motorcycle at that time. And it's like I think you can actually go get that motorcycle from Akira. I think they actually made that motorcycle. You actually get a motorcycle like that, kind of like that. I think this is what I've heard people saying. Kind of express like what would be the hottest, thing in year 2020 back then. It was, of course, as the older anime, the dubbing is kind of terrible. I tried to go back in there, with the Japanese language and the English subtitles. I just couldn't do it. I had to do the original dub because that's how I remember watching a lot of these older animes. Yeah, being an old feller, I'm not really into One Piece and all those other ones. I know that my nephew particularly loves those, and he really likes anime and stuff. But I mean, I don't really sit and watch things anymore. I just like to try to have collections of them so I know I can watch them at any time because it's sometimes hard to find a lot of these classic cartoons to be able to actually watch them, on a regular basis. Of course, Prime Video could always drop these movies at any time, but and I found torrent downloads of a lot of these classic series. Yeah, I have my Ninja Turtles DVD collection there, and I should probably open that up and probably watch some of it. But it's been like I think it's been almost like 30 years since I've actually sat down and watched a Ninja Turtles episode. I can remember a friend I knew when growing up. I'd go to his house and he had they published the VHS tapes that brought out the episodes, but you'd have to collect a lot of those to have like every episode or something. I know there was original DVD box set where you get like the turtle van and you keep all the DVDs inside this turtle van kind of thing. It's much like the Mystery Machine, like Scooby Doo. Yeah, I like all kinds of animated stuff. Not really anime, but yeah, I still like anime. I mean, I do. I think a lot of the games that I've played, well, especially Xenogears, that's definitely influenced. It has anime. I think you take all the. I think someone's taken all the anime scenes of that. I think it could have been an anime because animated scenes are cool. The dubbing is pretty bad, but kind of used to that. Really, the old school ones before they kind of got high quality. Nowadays, of course, you have access to all these animes and all kinds of foreign movies now, like Godzilla movies. The floodgates are open now on Crunchyroll or other places to get them. But before, we used to have to like wait for Monday on the Sci-Fi Channel to watch it, or wait for Toonami to show us some animes. Yeah, I remember watching Gundam. I kind of like those too. I don't actively watch them, but I do respect them. And I do kind of like the giant fighting robots. I'm kind of a nerd for the giant fighting robots. Oh yeah, Pacific Rim. I liked both of those movies, despite how dumb, I just love the giant robots killing monsters. I also watched the new series of Voltron and stuff. It was okay, but felt a little bit weird. Yeah, like it had been too long, and it was interesting to see a Voltron series that wasn't based upon another series that they changed the name to or something. Yeah, I wasn't really a fan. I'm never a fan of Power Rangers. I was the Ninja Turtles. Excuse me, kid. So it was weird when I finally saw Power Rangers. I'm like, what exactly is the big draw for this? And it's like, yeah, it's like, yeah. Voltron, had the monster of the week that they'd have to destroy. It's an interesting ongoing series. The idea of the transforming lions and stuff. Yeah, supposedly Henry Cavill is going to be starring in a Voltron movie. It's probably going to be only on Netflix. Well, and speaking of Netflix, I did recently go and watch Pee Wee's Big Holiday on Netflix because way back when I hadn't watched it, so I was interested, intrigued. At the time, it was probably like, oh, cool, Pee Wee's gonna be back. But now I watch it now, and it's like, oh, he's gone. And this was like his, yeah, he was trying to come back, but ultimately, then it's discovered that he had been fighting cancer for a while, and then we ended up losing him. And yeah, I've watched the, yeah, I've watched the documentary about it, and it's kind of unfortunate what happened to Paul Rubens, the man that played Pee Wee Herman. It's kind of an unfortunate kind of thing. But, there's not much to go on now. I kind of liked it because he meets this dude and then he has to go to his birthday party in New York and he has to travel and all this weird, crazy stuff happens to him and stuff. Yeah, I grew up with Pee Wee's Playhouse. I remember watching that. It's kind of cool to go back and watch that. After I heard that he was gone, I had to go and see it, and I found out that Cindy Lauper she actually does the opening music. She actually sings, the Pee Wee's Playhouse theme song there. She actually sings it, so it's kind of interesting. And she did it under a different name. I guess recently she revealed that she was actually the person singing. So yeah, Cindy Lauper did the opening for it, and there's a lot of interesting characters that were on Pee Wee's Playhouse, and then some of them went on to like Saturday Night Live stardom. Yeah, and I heard the whole issue with like the new Beetlejuice movie, that bird watching father that supposedly he had something to do with the downfall of Paul Rubens, which irritates me to no end. Yeah, I don't think I can watch the original movie seeing him in it, so not happy with that. But anyway, as always, please like and subscribe. Leave any comments you may want about whatever movies you guys have liked, or do you like watching the old school cartoons and some of the older anime like I do? Yep. All right. Well. Okay. I'll see you guys in the next video then. Catch you guys later. Bye.